80% in our training. We've been training for the past 7 to 8 years. And as I said, we trained every year 1,000 plus of young people across the country. But there have been this special emphasis that we should train 80%, they should be female. 80% of it. So you could see, even though it's a young movement, our focus are more on the girls.
Right.
So we're letting them feel that, yes, the movement name, it's just a name. But that doesn't mean that, yes, we are losing sight that, yes, the people we are surrounded with are more young people and girls per se.
Okay. So if you were, just in case you were asked to put the history of the YMCA in the Gambia in a few words, how would you put it?
The YMCA, as I said, it's a movement, and it has its head office in Geneva. Eventually, it started with a group of young Christians also coming together in the Gambia.
Okay.
And they first started this movement in Banjul, Fijara Street, called the Old Reform Club and so on. That's where this movement was. And eventually, we were blessed by government giving us a land, and then we have a space at Canifin here, close to your studio here. And that's where we have the National Council office. And in this National Council office, of course, there are branches. We have the Banjul branch of the Gambia YMCA. We have the Kabakel branch. We have the Brikama branch. And we're even trying to establish other branches in Farafenni and in Basse.
Okay.
And this movement, as I said, there is a board, and there are also directors and line managers that also works in this. And as I said also, our main objective is the young people movement. So all our engagement, we have a digital studio, we have a hostel, we have a training center. It's all trying to engage young people doing their own thing. As of now, I could tell you that the YMCA is coming up with a sport funded. And you could see the target audience are the young people we are looking at. So the movement should be constantly bubbling. That's what the movement. And if you could remember, there was this time, there's a song, we used to play the ball on YMCA. Well, it comes from that.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll be going with a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more on YMCA. It's hello and welcome to another edition of the Fatu Show, and this is the Viewers Tube, only with me, Teneng Jite. Today we're talking about tax payment and all its related issues and vices. Have you paid your tax? Mane, if your answer is yes, good. If no, they're coming for you. This is where we talk about your tax issues, and we are teaming up with GRA. Here we have Commissioner of Domestic Taxes, Esa Jallo, to tell us all about tax payment, who pay tax, where your money goes to, and why you need to pay tax. In fact, all the information you need is right here on this video.
Anything to do with the payment of tax is something, that has to be decided by law. So who pays tax, how they are going to pay the taxes, all these things, have to be decided by law. So that is why we operate on the basis of the law, and the law will prescribe who pays tax and what are the different types of taxes which exist in the country. Who pays tax depends on, the kind of, economic activities that you are engaged in. Like all businesses, pay tax in this country. These businesses could be individual businesses, it could be partnerships, it could be, corporate bodies. Even those of us who are in employment, we pay tax because of, the income we are getting. It's taxable. You have people who have rented out properties in this country. They are earning income from, property rentals. They are also required to pay tax. So in other words, to just summarize this, Anybody who is engaged in an economic activity, in this country, you are required to pay tax. It doesn't matter which religion you belong to. It doesn't matter which age what is your age. Tax does not look at gender. It does not look at religion. It looks at what you do, and on the basis of what you do, the law will decide what kind of tax will apply to you, whether it is a tax on employment, whether it is a tax that is based on business income, and so on and so forth. It is very important that people pay tax, because every government needs revenue to be able to provide public services, and let me say public goods and services, because we all see roads. We want to drive the best cars, but imagine you buy your best car and you don't have a road, you don't have good roads. So which means that no matter how good your car is, after 1 year, your maintenance costs will start increasing, and also it will affect the durability of your car. The other thing is, if you are sick, you want to go to a hospital, you want to find doctors there, you want to find medicine there. Also, you need security for your property. Therefore, you need the police. You need the army. And for all the civil servants, all the people who work in government offices, providing public services, they are all paid. Their salaries are paid from the taxes, that are being mobilized, by the country. That is why, it is very, it is criminal, it is illegal, for anybody, to engage in tax evasion, because that's the quickest way of crippling economies. If you fail to pay tax, you can be taken to court, you can be prosecuted, and it can even attract a jail time. Who pays taxes, and how much you pay, and what type of taxes, these are all prescribed by the law. There are individual businesses, and for them, we tax them on the basis of their business income. And for those individual businesses, of course, they will be required to register, and once they register, they have to pay income tax. Income tax is paid annually, but during the course of the year, they are required to make quarterly payments. That is for all individual businesses and the corporate businesses. When I say individual businesses, are the ones that we usually see, being run by people. And when I say corporate, I'm talking about the big kind of businesses, whether they are banks, whether they are in the telecoms, whether they are hotels. So all of them require to pay, tax on their business incomes. They would be required to pay this first on a quarterly basis based on their, turnover, and then at the end of the year, they will be required to file a return. When they file a return, an assessment is done, of their taxes, and depending on the tax that is charged, on their profit or turnover, whichever is higher, that's what we take. But, in a nutshell, that kind of tax is called, income tax, and it's a tax that they pay on the basis of their business income. And for individual businesses, there is one thing that is also important. Government recognizing the fact that it needs to help its citizens. Beginning in January 2013, we revised the fourth schedule in our tax law, and that is the schedule that we use to tax individual incomes. That is for individual business and for those who earn salaries, employment income. Now, the first 18,000 of your annual income is not subject to tax. Government gives that as a relief. So we only begin taxing an individual, whether an employee or you run an individual business, after you have already achieved your first 18,000. So any amount in excess of the 18,000, that is what we tax, and we tax it at different rates. The rates are progressive, and the greater your income, the higher the rates that will be applicable to that income. This program we have started. And for all those who would have the opportunity to view this program, we want to challenge you to share, my views with, your family, your friends, and everybody, because our objective is to change the culture of, tax compliance in this country.
Now that we've seen that, are we involved in tax evasion? I hope not, because if you are, I don't want to be you. One thing that has been jogging my mind, 2 days ago I did some shopping in one supermarket, and I noticed that I paid VAT, which is different from the amount of money that I spent. I bought items, and there was an amount given, like $11 says pay